Hello, it's Sarah again. I would like to share a recent experience of me uh, accidentally helping out a Nepo baby, a Nepo child. Now, she wasn't a child, she was in her early 30s, and I was genuinely concerned that she was without a place to be at. And so I decided to help her out for a couple nights, or just one night actually, because after the first one, she became like unbearable. All right, so it turns out that I wake up one day, I hear this crying of what sounded to be a young female. So I look outside my apartment door and I see this racially ambiguous young woman who's skinny and short with a white Labrador retriever. And there's this older, middle aged white woman who is accompanying her, kind of. She seemed like she was kind of surveying her to see if she was worth the risk of helping. And of course, that older woman ended up giving her money along with someone else prior. So I hear this crying outside my door for a good half hour before I had decided to go outside and assess the situation with my own eyes to see who that was. Because from unless I had went outside, I wouldn't have seen who it was, but I could very audibly hear um, half of what was going on. It wasn't clear to me, though, if she was fleeing a situation and got herself stuck somewhere or what. So it turns out that she was stranded at my complex and she had claimed to be allegedly in tech. I don't know if I believe that or not. But she said she has to just figure out how to get through the weekend so that she can get to San Francisco um, on Monday, which it would have been 2 days, 2 nights for that. And so I agreed to help her out. I said initially for 2 nights, but I tell her, let me get the place dog proof because it was her and her white Labrador retriever that was a support animal. I told her to come back in 2 hours and I'll have the place dog proof, and then she can crash here for up to 2 nights until she was saying that she was gonna get a check on Monday and be able to support herself through that. So then she eventually comes back um, with her guard dog, and when she enters the room, like there's a really bad aroma of just body odor and um, just nastiness. Like she definitely smelt homeless. She claims to have been in the hospital for 2 months because of a stroke, and then she was released 2 days prior to meeting me. But I'm not really too sure if I believe her story or not. Her uh, her socks were those socks that you see in hospitals that are the grippy socks, and she had like a patient sticker on her or something. So that was kind of an indicator that she came from somewhere, but I wasn't sure if it was a mental hospital or what. She claimed to have a stroke, and that's why she was hospitalized for 2 months, but who knows the story. So yeah, I let her in. Um, Her dog is filthy and covered in ticks. Um, Now you couldn't see the ticks until they were touching the hardwood floor because the ticks were white and the dog was white. And so when they touched the hardwood floor, the contrast of the dark wood against the tick made them very obvious. And then she takes one of her crutches because, like, she has crutches, and she's stomping on the ticks with her crutches, but they're not dying. The ticks had a stronger survival mechanism than the both of us combined, apparently, because they just weren't dying. She picked the ticks up individually and decided to flush them down the toilet. She was asking for my tweezers, but of course I'm not gonna let her use my tweezers because, like, come on now. I have a pair of Anastasia Beverly Hills tweezers that are nice. I'm not gonna fuck that up for tick pulling. That's disgusting. Like, go to CVS for that. Don't use my fancy pair of tweezers. Fuck you. I didn't say that, but I told her, like, I'm not using my tweezers for that. So yeah, after she settles down, I hear her talk for hours upon hours without end. She was talking about how everybody victimized her and everybody was extorting her allegedly, and um, just making it sound like everybody was fucking her over. Which, if you just meet somebody, you might think for the first things they talk about as far as, you know, how a bad situation might happen to them. You might believe them for the first two or, one or two stories, but when it becomes a pattern of literally everybody, she had claimed to have allegedly 30 open cases with individuals in the state of California. I began to get very concerned, and I was thinking to myself, is this lady gonna make up shit about me too? 'Cause that's what it felt like. There's absolutely no way all those cases can be open like that unless some of them are fabricated. So, to avoid her getting upset, I did not kick her out immediately. I let her stay until she left. I didn't kick her out. She decided to leave after getting upset. Um, Mind you, I did not know she was a Nepo child until the next day after I had done a reverse name research. I did a reverse search on her phone and found her full name. Um, she is the daughter of a celebrity couple that are actors. Well, her stepfather is a famous actor, and her mother is a model and an actress. Um, Clearly of African descent. So then, eventually, I don't know how this ends up happening, but we get on the topic of race, which to me it was very apparent that that was a hot button topic for her. Um, the first time she had introduced the topic of race, she was showing me like 4 or 5 different 70-plus-year-olds, like these old white men that were in their mid 70s, early 80s. She was showing me how she had a rotation, allegedly a rotation of old white men that would be in her life. But I thought to myself, like, how delusional it was that she thought she had that many, like, how she could be having people in her life like that, but still she's in that disposition of needing help from strangers. So I automatically did not believe her. If anything, I thought maybe she had a parasocial connection to some of them because she was digging up photos of famous writers and stuff like that from different countries and stuff. She was like, "Yeah, I love my old white men." It's like she's like, "I only date within my race." It's like, I looked at her, and she looks like a dark Somalian, but she could tell she was attractive if she were to put time into her appearance and not look homeless. She had a defined bone structure, uh, you know, she clearly was mixed. She was dark complected. She had straight hair, um, a narrow nose. I don't know. You could tell but she did have like a certain facial structure that people of African descent have. And I told her that. I was like, you could still tell you're part black, which is fine. But she was like telling me, I'm not black. I've had all these white ladies help me because they go by this code of helping their own kind. I told her, none of them were helping you because they thought you were white. They're helping you because you're a young woman with, to them, looks like a disposition of having poverty and going through homelessness. And I could tell she was starting to get mad at me over that, for saying that. Um, but you guys know me. I don't sugarcoat stuff. Um, well, some of you know me, as I'm not an asshole in real life, but if somebody's trying to use something as a bragging point, and they're incorrect, I'm gonna tell them about it. I can hold my breath. I can hold my tongue in the workplace, but when it comes to when I'm home, I say what the fuck I want. So, she was saying how she took an ancestry test and that she was Irish and Jewish. What else? Sicilian, but only 5% black. And I automatically, you know, didn't believe her, which is fine. Like, I didn't have to believe her ethnic makeup. And I told her, people will identify you with what they're familiar with. And I told her, in California, you're not white. I hate to tell you. I told her, you're having the wrong discussion in California, claiming you're white. And she was talking about how she hated black people and she hated black people and Mexicans. It's like, choose your battles. Like, you can't choose your battles. You can't hate every race, okay? Like, everybody subconsciously is a little bit racist, okay, from our own experiences, but you can't hate everybody. You know, I told her, if you were to ask those people who helped you if they thought you were white, they would probably say that they thought you were mixed. And she got mad over that. She's like, I don't have to ask them. They already know. And I was like, okay. See, I don't sit here and argue with people. What I do is I present a reality and I'll say it a few times and I'll repeat it. And if the person doesn't catch on to it, then if they're not even trying to look at my point either, then it just shows to me that they're stuck in their ways or that they could be, potentially delusional based on certain topics. Like, if you see somebody who's obviously mixed and they claim to just be Irish, she was claiming just to be Irish, you have to look at them as a little bit delusional, a little bit, or something happened to them where they want to discard their identity completely. Just crazy. Um, yeah, so me and her she's having this, we weren't really having an argument, but I was basically telling her, you're not white. I told her, I'm not white. I mixed, you're mixed. I did not help you because I thought you're white. I helped you because you appear to be a female in a disempowering situation that you could have been victimized in. she would not shut up the whole night. She was talking about half the night, it was her talking about her being victimized allegedly and how much she hated black people. She hated Mexicans. And then she had these landlords that were stalking her. Either the people in her life had stalked her allegedly or they had extorted her allegedly. Now, I can't get in trouble over this because I'm not naming her name. Next morning, I had noticed that she had never slept either. She was leaving every hour to take what she was saying a cigarette break. She was smoking these blunts that were cut with tobacco, um, and coming back every hour and never getting tired. Like most pot smokers get tired, but she was never getting tired. So I think she could have been on crack because she had never gotten tired. She had already been outside a while before she had been stranded in front of my complex. And she wasn't even tired at all. Very strange. Um, let's see. So eventually she tells me that she only hangs out with people that have her perspective. I'm like, okay. And I was okay with her parting ways because I had already felt unsafe around her. She was saying that she's being endangered if people don't see her as white. I was like, wow. She said, I feel unsafe if someone's saying that I'm not white. And she was saying that only delusional people see her as anything besides white. And it just felt like projection. I felt like she was the delusional one and she was mad about being part black. Um, just very strange. So what happened? Yeah, she um eventually left with whatever money the people had given her. That she was, she was stranded outside for a while. People had given her money. She left to um be at a hotel that was not even close to San Francisco. She had claimed she was going to San Francisco on Monday, but she ends up going to somewhere like way up north, like a couple hours of a drive away, and she doesn't have a car. So none of what she said made sense. Okay, what else happened? Um, hmm. So that was it. I did not tell her to leave, but I think the conversation pissed her off so much that around 9 a.m. she was like, "I'm tired of you," and then she was like, "I'm going somewhere else," because she was upset, and I was like, "Okay." And I told her, "Get your self-hating ass out of here." I said that to her very calmly, and I closed the door, and that was it. Her and her dog were never seen again. I had blocked her afterwards because she's crazy. She would be the type of person to spread false rumors about people. Like I don't have much respect towards people who victimize people who help others. Like come on now. So yeah, that was my experience with the Nepo baby that was potentially cracked out. Um yeah, she has celebrity parents and somehow ended up stranded at my place, in front of my place, and I don't know if she was just swindling everybody. I don't know if she was the mixed race Amanda Bynes, where Amanda Bynes is like trouble, problematic. I thought these Nepo babies who were doing these crazy things were just doing it for, I don't know, thought it was like orchestrated, but no, these Nepo babies exist. The ones that don't adjust well actually do end up drifting around, doing drugs. That's just what it is. I could tell at one point in her life she was probably a decent individual, but something something happened to her. But that's her problem. If she's not going to deal with it responsibly, she needs to just um, part ways. I hear sirens in the background, which reminds me that she kept bragging about having connections to like she was like, I have the feds on speed dial. I was like, good for you. She thought because she was able to call people, she was like immune to the repercussions of her actions. Now, if you have that mindset, you're going to get punished. Like, you will get punished by life. She appeared to have victimized many individuals that appeared to be helping her because I had researched her after she left. I did a reverse lookup on her phone, and it showed her full name. And then I researched her name in Google, and then there's these videos on YouTube that are talking about their experiences with her, and it is a repeat situation. It's a repeat story of her, and she ends up crashing somewhere and then causing an issue. What's going on? Jeez. She ends up crashing somewhere and causing an issue with the people helping her, and then she claims to be a victim afterwards instead of apologizing, instead of taking accountability. I just don't have time for people like that. So I hope whoever has been victimized by her, I hope they um, don't get their lives fucked over. That's all I have to say for now.